Hi there, welcome to your Figure Card Tarot readings for the month of April and Aries season. If you're watching this at another time, that is totally fine. These are energy predictions, and the fact that you clicked on this video means you've connected with the energies here. So just keep watching and follow your intuition to pick the right reading for you today. We have 3 groups today. Well, we're going to start with a quick meditation to get centered. I'm going to cue you in with my voice, so just get comfortable. You can close your eyes if you like. Maybe roll the shoulders back. And let's take 3 deep clearing breaths together. Breathe in. Sigh out of the mouth. Deep breath in through the nose. And let it out. One more deep breath in. And let it out. Relax your gaze. Soften the space between your eyebrows. Relax your cheeks, the corners of your nose. Part your lips. Let your jaw hang. Allow this relaxation to flow down, down, down into your shoulders, arms, and hands. Relax the chest. Relax the belly. Release your lower back and sink into your seat. Relax your legs and feet. Just ground into the earth below you, sinking down, down, down. Feeling relaxed, soft, knowing there's no way to be other than how you are right now. There's nowhere to go other than where you are right now. It's from this centered place that I invite you to listen to today's reading or readings. Listen for messages that resonate, messages that make you curious, that expand your perspective, that light you up, or make you think a little deeper. Take the messages that restore a sense of clarity, a sense of direction, or ownership, acceptance. Take the messages that allow you to be more kind to yourself and others. Now, if you're ready, you can open your eyes and look at the 3 groups before you. For group 1, we have citrine quartz. For group 2, we have this orange agate. For group 3, we have tiger's eye. Now, soften your gaze, and with this blurry vision, take in everything that you see in your visual field. And notice if there are any shapes or colors that stand out to you. Do you feel drawn to any of the crystals? Do you feel called to any of the groups? Notice which number stands out to you as I say them. Is it group 1, group 2, or group 3? Is it citrine, agate, or tiger's eye? And know that you don't have to think too hard. Sometimes our first impulse is the right one. Sometimes we can be drawn to more than one reading, since these are general readings. So you're welcome to start with one and then go to the other, or just watch the entire video and exercise your intuition to only take the messages that resonate. Once you've chosen your reading, you can go down to the timestamps below to click on your reading, and I'll see you over there. And before we get into them, I just want to give a huge thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. If you don't already know, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build your online presence. Whether you're a writer, an artist, or an entrepreneur, Squarespace offers all the features you need to showcase your work in a beautifully curated space. One of the things I love the most about Squarespace is their designer website templates. These are crafted by world-class designers to help you stand out and make a strong impression with your customers. They're also super easy to customize, so you can create a professionally looking site without needing any design experience. Another game changer is Squarespace's visual design tools. You can easily customize your portfolio or website or blog with modern layouts and intuitive effects that make your work stand out effectively. And if you want to monetize your content, Squarespace makes it easy to sell physical or digital products like ebooks, courses, or memberships with just a few clicks. No complicated setup, just a streamlined way to earn from your creativity. If you want to take your work to the next level, check out Squarespace for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to my link, squarespace.com/ediyasmr to save 10% off of your first website or domain. Thanks again, Squarespace, and thank you for listening. Now, let's get into Group 1's reading. If you chose Group 1, citrine quartz, then this is your reading. Hi, Group 1, welcome to your reading. Today we're going to be using the Light Seers deck, and as usual, we're going to get started with your current energies. So, Group 1, what do we need to know about your situation? Group 1. So I'm actually redoing your reading because I got way too many interruptions the first time, and I was just trusting that if the same messages wanted to come through, they would. And we literally have exactly the same cards that I got earlier, which is freaky. We have Death, Nine of Swords, and Eight of Swords. So, with Death and the Nine of Swords, I'm getting the message that you are supposed to be letting go of something in your situation, but you are resisting it. You're resisting the death of something because you are ruminating on it too much or believing in it too much. For example, this can be the death of an old self, an old way of being, an old behavior or belief about yourself. And the Nine of Swords would mean you are holding on to the belief. Like, as much as you are supposed to be letting it go, you are entertaining the belief too much that the letting go isn't happening. Or, for example, if it's an old behavior, the Nine of Swords would mean that you are perhaps so ashamed of this behavior and take it to mean something about yourself, like you're so identified with it that you can't let it go. So I hope that makes sense. Because you're entertaining it so much at the mental level, the actual releasing of the embodiment is not happening. And so the rebirth can happen because the death isn't happening. And so with the Nine of Swords, the lesson is always to recognize the overwhelm, the rumination, and how much is happening at the mental level, how much is being activated, and how much you're identifying with it and giving into it. And with that awareness, you can then come back to your body, come back to the sensations, the discomfort in the body that's generating the thoughts. Once you're in the body, then you can be with the process of releasing these sensations, the unfolding process where things inevitably change down here. And then your thoughts change once the sensations change. So remember that if you're wanting to let something go, be it a relationship or a way of being, you have to feel through it and rest the mind a bit. So don't give in to the thoughts and narratives about what you're letting go, because there seems to be a limiting belief here that is keeping you stuck. The Eight of Swords is like the past imposing itself on the present, and so you're kind of like clouded and you can't really see the present clearly. You limit yourself with the present because the past is filtering the present. And so when this card shows up, it's really a matter of coming into awareness that there's literally nothing about the present keeping you stuck. It's just what you believe about the past that you are using to filter the present. And so it really is just a thought that makes your present seem more limited. But if you can get yourself out of the thought, then you would see that you're actually not blindfolded or tied up. Okay, now let's get some Work Your Light cards. You have no, wait, postpone, pause, say no. And you have this along with boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? So there's something to say no to in your situation. Like you almost have to, I'm getting the sense of like retreating and bring your attention and focus inward, paying less attention to what's going on externally. What else does Group 1 need to know? What does Group 1 need to know? Imrama, where are you being called to journey to? To kind of get the sense that you're lacking a clear vision of where you're going, and that is what's and that's why you've been ruminating so much. Like I get the sense that you would believe your thoughts a lot less if you were clear about where you were going, where you're headed to. So maybe this is something to journal about. Where are you being called to journey to? And maybe you can replace these negative ruminations with more empowering thoughts about where you're going and where you want to be. What else does Group 1 need to know? Pillar of light, your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. So I'm hearing, recognize that you are in a process, and this is all part of the process. Even the part where you are keeping yourself stuck, or entertaining your thoughts too much, or resisting death, letting go. All of this is part of the process. And if you were to just zoom out a bit and see the bigger picture, you would realize that through it all, you are still moving forward. Your vibration is rising. Now let's get a Divine Initiation Oracle card. Group 1. You have Lunar Initiation. Interesting. We are in eclipse season, and so this is a very fitting image and card to receive at this time. Let's go into the guidebook to learn more about this card. Oh, wrong page. Okay. The Lunar Initiation card invites you to tap into your intuition and trust your inner knowing. This oracle serves as a reminder to stay connected to the wisdom of your heart and the guidance of your inner voice. The moon encourages you to delve deep into the depths of your psyche, to explore hidden truths and a connection to the mysteries of the unknown. The journey is all about learning how to trust your gut instincts. So allow yourself to receive the gifts of your intuition by trusting in the divine guidance that is always available. It is a process that requires patience, practice, and a high level of self-awareness. In order to tap into this part of yourself, pay close attention to your thoughts, feelings, and sensations as you focus on quieting the mind. Remain in a calm and present state and open yourself up to the potential of what lies beyond the boundaries of logical thought. Listening to healing frequencies such as 210.42 Hertz will attune you to the power of the moon. It is believed that this resonance is associated with the lunar cycles and has been found to have a positive and calming effect on both our physical and emotional well-being. And here are 2 journal prompts, and I think it's a poem, affirmative poem maybe. I'll just read it out to you. In the sky above, the moon does shine, its phases waxing and waning in time, a symbol of the cycles of life and the need to embrace change without strife. Just as the moon changes its form, our lives too can be reborn. And though transitions may be hard to bear, the moon reminds us to take the dare. Acceptance is the key to growth and trusting in life's ebb and flow. For everything happens for a reason, and each phase brings a new season. So let the moon be your guide as you navigate life's changing tide. Embrace the shifts, both big and small, and let transformation be your all. So it mentions rebirth here, which is nice synchronicity. And the thing that really stood out to me here is what is said about quieting your mind to explore hidden truths and connect a little bit more deeply with your inner mysteries. So I think you're being invited to side less with your mind and more with your body at this time, that you might have noticed in being logical, you are in some ways getting yourself stuck. Like over rationalizing your situation has been getting you stuck, and that this death portal invites you to be with your sensations and feelings deeply, so as to grieve and really allow a shift where you can feel like a drastic change within yourself. That first and foremost begins as a somatic release. So this is really a time for you to be with sensations and feelings so that you notice the shift when it happens and this drastic reorientation in yourself and your embodiment. Okay, now let's go into some more tarot. What else does group 1 need to know? You have Temperance. Notice how the man is juggling, I suppose he's juggling the moon and the sun, which are often symbolic polarities of each other. And so this is like juggling your mind and opposing thoughts and stories, and just like the dynamic polarization of our thoughts. This means to take a step back and to just observe the dynamism, but not go into it where you're the one being juggled rather than the one juggling. You have the World. And begin to prepare for a completion and ending of a significant chapter of your life. The World is things coming into integration, completion, wholeness. You are like at the final stretch before a chapter can be completely closed. So recognize that this is the point of the journey you're in, and put your attention on integrating and sense making. The Ace of Pentacles. Welcome. Be open to things changing in your material reality, where you might notice an increase in abundance or resources, where you might notice a change, a shift in your finances, work, home, or relationships. Something in your physical reality is going to be changing in the near future. Bottom deck energy is the King of Swords, and it will align you more closely with your deepest truth, and perhaps invite you to embody your truth or speak your truth more openly. Interesting. Okay, now let's get one last card to close this reading. You have Take a Break, a life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. And this is making me think of Group 2's reading. So if you're curious, I welcome you to keep listening and feel like there's something here that's connected to that reading. So if only that, if group two's reading is calling out to you, go for it. Otherwise, you don't have to. You have Star Mother as well. How can you mother yourself? So the death process can be quite scary on our egos. And that is why it's so important to take a step back and to observe yourself going through it rather than identifying with what's dying. And so in this process of deep, deep grief and letting go, mother yourself. Be the mother or the adult self that's taking care of the younger part that's afraid. And I'm going to leave you there, group one. Thank you so much for being here. I'm sending you so much love. And I hope the reading resonated. There were a lot of pieces, and I feel like I read it a little bit differently than I normally do. I hope you were able to follow and that it was helpful. Let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you in another reading or in another video. Bye. If you chose group 2, orange jacket, then this is your reading. Hey group 2, welcome to your reading. Today we're going to be using the Four Noble Healing deck. And as usual, we're going to get started with your current energies. So, what do we need to know about group 2? Group 2's current situation. What do we need to know? Okay. Can you clarify the Six of Swords, please? Clarify the Six of Swords. There are 3 swords cards here to signify that what we're reading about today has a lot to do with your mind, your thought processes, and the stories you tell yourself. We have the Empress, the only major arcana currently. Then we have the Nine of Swords and Six of Swords, clarified by the Four of Swords. With the Empress, I'm getting the sense that you are currently in a creative process of some sort. This can be a pregnancy. If we are to take it literally, this can be a project, a creative project. There is some sort of process you're in where you don't really know what the results will be, where you might end up, and the process is really testing your patience and inviting you to sit in your sovereignty and be still and confident. And with the Nine of Swords, perhaps thoughts have really been getting in the way, fear-based thoughts, or just a lot of mental overwhelm, like there are a lot of aspects to oversee and you're just really overwhelmed about what to do next. There's a lot of stress and anxiety about if this is moving forward at all. And we have the Six of Swords here, which is about, well, you can kind of see it in this image. It's moving forward in your thought process and finding reassurance that things will be okay, moving to calmer shores, or, getting past choppy waters, and getting to the part of the process where you're like, oh, okay, I think, you know what, actually, I was just freaking out, but I can see now that everything will be fine. So I was a little confused to get this in your current energies. And this is clarified by the Four of Swords, which is about rest, stillness, contemplation, regeneration. So I think you are quite aware of the fact that you need to rest and that you need to sit back, remain sovereign, and trust the process. You might be doing that right now, resting and being with yourself, laying your swords down for a bit, and trusting that this will help you bounce back a little bit better in the near future. And you might already be seeing results from this, that when you do rest, when you give time to yourself, you are able to release a bit of the stress and see more light at the end of the tunnel. So I think you're already doing this. Now let's get some Work Your Light cards. So if you're already doing that group 2, then what do you need to hear right now? What does Spirit want you to know? What do you need to hear? You have the initiation, rite of passage, crossing the threshold. Okay. Yeah, so you've been overwhelmed. Your mind has been getting the better of you. There's just a lot of thoughts and ruminations and sense of stuckness and believing in the stuckness. And so you've been trying to give more time to rest and taking a bit of space from the project, the thing that's gestating. This has been giving you a bit of reassurance that things will be okay and that you're moving to calmer shores. And this is all great. And Spirit's wanting you to know that what you're moving towards is an initiation. There's a rite of passage. There's a threshold you have to cross. And in thinking about this, perhaps anxiety comes up. Some fear or fear-based stories that you're small or you're not ready, you're too powerless for this, something like that. So if the Empress really represents pregnancy for you, this can be about birthing, giving birth, and the fear surrounding that. And that really is a rite of passage. Nothing is ever the same ever again once you cross that threshold. And so I'm getting that there's fear and anxiety about this rite of passage and a sense of, oh, but I'm not ready. I don't know if I can do this. Yeah, it could be like maybe you're launching a project or launching a product, launching something. And that very definitive mark, that threshold, is looking very scary to you. Like, I know for me, in a couple weeks, I'm going to be getting, examinated, tested to see if I'll certify in a training. And a part of me is like, can I really do it? I don't know. Like, it's really asking me to trust my sovereignty, to trust my power, my knowledge, my wisdom. And so there's something there. The part of you that feels small doesn't fully believe that you can. And then there's another part of you that's like, but I'm the Empress. I've come this far. I have this wisdom. I know I'm sovereign. I know I'm divinely guided. And I think you're being asked to really trust the part of you that, embodies the sovereignty, that knows you are powerful. You have boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? That's interesting. So perhaps there are people that you're used to relating to where you have this dynamic where you're the smaller one, if that makes sense. And maybe it's time to rethink these relationships and these dynamics. Is there a way to rework them a bit where you can have boundaries around your sense of power and like even out the dynamic? Because I think the more you interact with these people, the more you ingrain the pattern that you are small or powerless. And so if you can really use these relationships as a learning tool and learn to relate to them in a more empowered way, then I think that can feed this creative process you're in. You have starseed. What lights you up? And maybe it's time that you remember why you're in this creative process in the first place. What's in this for you? Why have you come this far? Remember your why as a way of finding empowerment. Okay, now I'm going to go into the Divine Initiation deck. Group 2. You have 28, spiritual rejuvenation. What a beautiful image. Okay, and let's go into the guidebook. As glistening warm waters and calming waves cleanse your aura, you are being brought back into a natural flow state. Know that you are always held and supported afloat, as the sounds of the sea and motions of the waves ground you back into the present moment. When the body is overburdened by the troubles of the mind, we are called to allocate time for self-care and relaxation in order to renew ourselves spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally. If you feel as though you have been accommodating others and putting their needs before your own, now is the time to detach from the external world and align yourself back to your values. Some may find this to be a challenging task, but it is important to understand that our energy is a precious resource that must not be given away so freely, as neglecting ourselves in this way can be at the expense of our own health and well-being. But a part of our spiritual journey is to learn how to give to ourselves the love we deserve. Once you begin to cultivate self-care practices that rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul, the relationship you have with yourself will change for the better. Remember, it is not selfish to put your own needs first. It is an act of honor and self-respect. The more love you give to yourself, the more love you will have to share with others. So, there are 2 initiation prompts here. Number 1, how can I make more time for self-care? Number 2, in what ways can I rejuvenate myself? You can just take a screenshot if you'd like. There's some really beautiful crystals here as well that you can work with. So, I want to go back to the boundaries card and the starseed card. So there's a call here, and also, also the 4 of Swords, because this is about rejuvenation, taking time for yourself, laying your swords down for a bit. So letting your mind rest, coming back to your body. And for some of you who really struggle with making boundaries, and you're noticing how you've been putting other people's needs before your own, you've been allowing other people to make you feel small or powerless, it is totally fine to take some space for yourself and just give a firm no. So maybe, for some of you, it's not about working on these relationships to find your power, but it's just taking a firm step back, creating some clear distance, and that will be enough for you to remember your power. Because it sounds like for a lot of you, you are exhausted and you're really needing to just come back to yourself and recover your flow state and to go into a relationship and, navigate the messiness and the conversations, that's too much. And so feel into your body. If you feel called to do that, to learn from your relationships, by all means, learn to find your power through them. And if that feels like too much for you, it's totally okay to just distance yourself for a bit. I have been really isolating myself, and I feel really bad whenever I feel the need to do this. But honestly, sometimes I really need it. And then after a week of fully honoring that, I'm able to bounce back and have a genuine desire to connect with others. So don't ever connect out of guilt or shame or obligation. If you really need to detach and distance for a bit, honor that. That's a need. Or there's a need in there somewhere, and it's not something to be ashamed of or to feel guilty over. So currently you're being asked to really take care of yourself and rest your mind and restore a flow state with your creativity. And I feel like you are quite familiar with what that feels like in your body. And so trust your body, let your body guide you. You'll know when you're back in that flow state where energy is actually oozing out of you and you're wanting to share it with others. And if right now you're not feeling that, let that be, honor that, and figure out what's going to help you recover. let's go into some more tarot. Okay, so there's some inner work here that you're being invited to explore. We have the Five of Cups, Five of Swords that came out in reverse, and King of Cups. So what I'm hearing is you're being invited to feel into grief. This grief and immense sadness is about unresolved miscommunication or disagreements. And this can be like disagreements within yourself, between two parts that are in conflict with each other, like the shaming part and the sovereign part. This can also be disagreement with a close one, someone who's really deeply impacted you when it comes to how you see yourself and see your power. And the King of Cups is about really moving through your emotions without, while remaining afloat. If your emotions can be represented by water, it's like without sinking into the depths of the water, but remaining afloat and having perspective as you move through the water. So there's grieving here, and the key is to not lose yourself in it completely, but to have perspective as you feel your feelings. When you can do that, grieving can be so restorative. And we can only really grieve when we give ourselves the space to do so, right? And I think that's why we got the Four of Swords at the beginning. When you give yourself space to rest your mind, then the unprocessed emotions and sensations arise. Okay. Feeling called to get a Work Your Light card. What else does group 2 need to hear? You have inner temple, devotion, tune into the portal of your heart. I'm sensing into like a sort of tenderness. This is supposed to be a very tender process of being with yourself, meeting yourself deeply. So Spirit's asking you to not look at this as a task that you have to do, but rather just an invitation to be with yourself. Okay. And now let's get a few cards to close off this reading. What can we expect in the near future? We have Ace of Pentacles and Judgment. This is beautiful. So Ace of Pentacles is stepping through the portal, experiencing a sort of shift in your material world and feeling more access to abundance, to resources. This can be Also, getting a new job, moving homes, getting into a new relationship, like landing a new opportunity. It can also just, it can be more internal as well, just like you're relating to your material world differently. And with judgment, this is seeing yourself differently, seeing yourself more deeply, remembering truths that you may have suppressed or forgotten. So coming back to yourself, coming back to your truth and your values, remembering that, life is most fulfilling when you honor them. So that's beautiful. And I am going to end your reading here, group 2. Thank you so, so much for being here. I'm sending you so much love. This was a beautiful reading that I 100% related to. I feel like I went through a lot of this week. And so I'm with you. Let me know how it resonated. And I will see you in another reading or in another video. Bye. If you chose group 3, Tiger's Eye, then this is your reading. And group 3, welcome to your reading. For your group, we're going to be using the Light Seer stack. And as usual, let's go into your current energies to get started. Group 3, Tiger's Eye, Group 3, Tiger's Eye. What do we need to know? Okay. One more card, please. We have a reverse High Priestess, a reverse King of Wands, and Justice. And I have a feeling this reading is going to be quite similar to group 2's and maybe even group 1's reading. There seems to be like a very collective thing here. Could be that we're in eclipse season right now. Okay. So the High Priestess, when it's upright, is about being able to see the subtle, the energetics, the patternings of the matrix, the things that most people are not paying attention to in this material realm. And I feel like that ability is currently blocked in some way, or you are repressing your ability to see the unseen. And this is directly connected to how you've been feeling powerless, how you've been feeling not so much in your power, not so much like a leader, like someone who commands attention like the King of Wands. The King of Wands is often someone who stands out in a sea of people, someone who is ready to take the reins and show people how it's done and like be an example. And I think you've been finding it difficult to tap into this sort of confidence in yourself. And it is Spirit saying it's because you have not allowed yourself to own your ability to see the subtle. Being the High Priestess is what makes you a leader. what makes you charismatic and powerful in the eyes of others. And we have the Justice card, which is about restoring karmic balance, finding equilibrium. And I wanted to say the word integrity comes to mind, like you're trying to come back into integrity and own your shadow side better, integrate your shadow into your conscious identity. And maybe this is because you used to flaunt your power in a way that wasn't fully owned before. Because sometimes the King of Wands can be like that. He can be a player, He can be a little bit manipulative even, because he knows how powerful he is and how people fall for his charm. And so perhaps you are currently in a more internal phase of your life in order to come back into integrity, and like you're kind of checking yourself a bit to see if there's a better way to show up in the world with your power in a way that you're not abusing it, if that makes sense. Yes, there's something here about integrity and like checking yourself and making sure that you are responsible, that you are responsible with your leadership, that you are responsible with your truth telling, with your seeing. And with the High Priestess, this can be a lot of things. This doesn't mean you are all fortune tellers. So if it doesn't resonate in that way, this can be just your knack for noticing things in your area of expertise that other people simply do not. Your passion for something, for like a specific part that you are called to share with the world that other people simply cannot bring into the world the way you do. So it doesn't mean we're all fortune tellers here and we're abusing our power. It's more about a sort of truth that you are meant to share with the world that other people simply can't, because they just don't see it the way you do. You have Sisterhood of the Rose, Beauty and Devotion, Priestess, Mystic, Teacher. So this is about devoting yourself. There's a tenderness to it, which I really felt with Group 2's reading. Turning inwards and really connecting with your sense of devotion to the truth, to beauty. You also have don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? And with this, I'm hearing also don't go overboard with checking yourself and, ownership and responsibility. Don't think that repressing your power and your truth is what's going to make you responsible. Do not confuse the two. Repressing your truth in a way can be irresponsible, right? It's like you're withholding something that the world needs from you. So don't dim your light. Responsibility and ownership also means shining your light. Dimming your light does not make you more responsible. pillar of light. Your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. Yeah. So stay with the process. You're getting somewhere with this. You're getting somewhere. Spirit's encouraging you on this quest for truth and deeper integrity. Break the chain, ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. So there's a lot of shadow work in this. Like, it's not easy owning your shadow, coming into terms with the parts of you that are shrouded in darkness, that are more difficult to hold. And in doing this work, you are integrating deep ancestral patterns. You're bringing healing to your lineage in ways that you might not realize. You're expanding your container, your ability to hold power in a way that's never been done before in your lineage. So this is no easy feat. Now I'm going to go into the Divine Initiation Oracle. Group 1 and Group 2 both got initiation cards about a sort of rite of passage. I'm really curious if you're going to get something similar. I guess not. You have 1111, trust the signs. Interesting. Yeah, so there's a little invitation for you to read a little bit more into your situation and use your ability to see the unseen so that you can follow the signs like you used to. Like, I want to say that you haven't really been following the synchronicities or paying too much attention to them. And that is something you used to do that made your day-to-day experiencing of life really meaningful. That was something you used to do that, allowed you to really be with the process of expansion. And I feel like in suppressing your high priestess abilities, you have not really been seeing the signs or the invitations or opportunities. And if you allowed yourself to, then maybe you would find a bit more of a flow with this process that you're in. I'm going to go into the guidebook. The universe is always communicating with you and will often provide you with reassurance and confirmation when you are feeling uncertain. When you trust the signs you receive, you open yourself up to an abundance of guidance, synchronicities, and divine messages. By paying close attention to the signs around you, even the smallest ones, you'll be able to better understand your journey and the next steps to take. The universe may present these signs to you in the form of synchronicities, repeating numbers, feathers, animal spirits, or even dreams about symbols and messages that could be interpreted. This oracle brings a message of alignment and unconditional love. You are being encouraged to remain patient and to trust in the unfolding of your life, especially during the times you feel challenged. If you feel as though you are not yet where you would like to be in life, surrender to the present moment and know that you are being guided towards your desired timeline. By trusting the signs you receive, you can move forward with grace and faith, knowing that you are divinely supported. And here's the initiation prompts. Feel free to take a screenshot if you like for later, and also read them out to you. Number 1, pay attention. Take time to notice even the smallest signs and be aware of what the universe is trying to communicate to you. Number 2, follow your intuition. You may receive subtle nudges. These can be an intuitive gut feeling, a hunch, or an inner knowing. Number 3, take action. Once you have received your sign, take action immediately. Even if it's something small, this will help you create momentum and attract further guidance from the universe. Number 4, reflect and be grateful. Reflect on the signs you receive and be thankful for the guidance the universe has provided for you. 5, trust the process. You're being led to your highest possible timeline. Another way to think about this, and perhaps maybe a more scientific way, if you will, is this is about training your pattern recognition ability. Once you set your intentions to bring something forward into reality, it's up to our pattern recognition ability to see the opportunities and invitations around us that would make it possible, right? So that's really what we're talking about here. It's about generating momentum, trusting yourself again, and coming into a sort of flow where you are following your intentions, your intuition, and your gut nudges a little bit more deeply. Okay, now let's go into more tarot. What else does group 3 need to know? Okay, you have the Fool and 10 of Swords as your bottom deck energy. So I feel like Spirit's inviting you to take the approach of the Fool. Be a bit foolish. Trust the world a little bit more. And be more open-minded. Have a beginner's mindset when approaching your situation. Do not be so rigid. Do not let go of preconceived notions about how this is supposed to be, about what your process is or what it's supposed to look like. Let go of rigid systems or narratives that you have about yourself or your situation or your process. And yeah, it's time to be less rigid and more open-minded and a little more foolish and exploratory in your embodiment. Experiment a bit more. Be a bit more playful with how you're approaching your situation. Oh, and quicken the pace is what I'm hearing We have the Chariot. Notice how the Chariot is charging forward. There's all this passion and movement in the image. So Spirit is inviting you to start quickening the pace. You are a bit stagnant right now. You're taking yourself too seriously with needing to be in integrity and needing to be responsible, and so much that you're dimming your light and things are not generating anymore, and you're doubting yourself rather than trusting yourself. And with the Fool and the Chariot, you're being invited to loosen up and experiment more with this process, to be less rigid. And you're also being invited to just do things, just try things without being afraid of failure or making mistakes. The Chariot is victorious. This is the card of victory, not because, it's like the last card of the major arcana and you have all the answers now. The Chariot is literally the 7th card of the major arcana. So it's very much at the beginning, and this is the card that represents a healthy ego, where we are daring to experiment and to make mistakes. We know that we might, with the duality of the mind that's represented by the white and black horse, we are bound to make mistakes and to swerve and fall off the path. But the Chariot is victorious because when you're in this energy, you are daring to try. You're not afraid of mistakes, and you charge forward anyways. And you're doing your best with your determination to stay on the path. And there's a sort of passion and drive that comes with that sort of intention. It's like then life really begins to flow for you. Things begin to move. And so this is really the kind of embodiment that Spirit is asking of you. Be less rigid, be foolish, be playful, experiment. Try new things and be daring. Dare to make mistakes. Move forward. Just do something. Try things. And if life begins to move really fast, welcome it. Don't be afraid of it. That's momentum. And that sort of momentum will get you to places you want to be. You just have to be determined and focused about your intentions. And mainly your intention here is to stay in integrity, right? To stay on the path, to be aligned to your truth. So if you really hold fast to that, the Chariot can take you very far. Whew. Yeah, I'm really feeling that energy. It's very exciting. Wow, that's awesome. Okay. And I'm going to leave you with one last card. Awesome. You have the Great Gathering. Group 1 also got this. It's all coming together. Intuitive hits. Soul Tribe. Yeah, so I think when you begin to allow the Chariot energy to come through you, you're going to find momentum that will connect you with people that are really supposed to be in your life right now for whatever reason. You're going to really get the sense of things coming together. Like people showing up to support you. Like this is about people showing up for you because they really resonate with your truth and what you're emitting. Yeah, wow. So there are a lot of great things to look forward to. And I'm going to end your reading here, Group 3. Thank Thank you so, so much for being here. Sending you so much love. And let me know if the reading resonated. I would love to hear from you in the comments below. And I'll see you in another reading or in another video.